This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Okay, today's video is the third video in the series that I'm doing on playing blues lead guitar. If you haven't seen the first two videos in this series yet, then fear not. I shall link to them down in the description box. Go and check them out if you haven't seen them already. Anyway, last week what we did was we'd already dealt with the minor pentatonic, and we expanded it a little bit into the Dorian mode simply by adding a couple of extra notes. Well, this week we're still on that modal kick. This week we're going to be getting a lot of very tasty licks courtesy of the Mixolydian mode. A couple of Mixolydian modes actually, well, more than one anyway. I'll spare you any more blethering. Let's get straight into the lesson for today. Here it is. Okay then, as you will know if you've been keeping up with this little series of videos I've been doing, we began by playing a standard G minor pentatonic, one of these, over a G7, C7, D7, 12-bar blues chord sequence. Then last week what we did was we took the C7 chord, specifically the E note that's in that chord, and we took the D7 chord, the A note that's in that chord, and we added both E and A notes from those two chords into our G minor pentatonic, which gave us something called the G Dorian mode. Well, that's largely setting the template for what we're going to do today. The main difference is that with those two additional notes that we put in last time, the E and the A, you can just play them anywhere in the chord sequence and they're going to work just as well as the minor pentatonic does. You don't really have to take too much care about where you add them. In some places they will sound better than others. For instance, if you add the E note over the C7 chord, because that note is in the chord, it's going to work a lot better there than anywhere else, but it's not going to sound horrible anywhere else. Same with the A note that's in the D7 chord. You know, land on that over the G or the C chords, it's going to sound okay, but land on it over the D7 chord, it's going to sound really good. But the two notes we're going to add in today are very much chord specific. You kind of really have to use them only over the chords where they occur. And the first one is this B note here from the G7 chord. Okay, you're not really going to get away with adding that note over the C7 chord, because the C7 chord contains this B flat, and the B note that you would kind of play, if you were to play that there, you'd end up having a B and a B flat note happening together, and it would sound like that, which isn't pretty. So we can add the B note in over the G7 chord, and if I play D7 like this, you can see that gives us an F sharp note. Well, that is an F sharp note that we're taking from the D7 chord, and we can add that in over that chord. So here are the G Dorian mode shapes that we looked at last time, and I've kind of greyed out the majority of the notes. I'm just showing where these two new additional notes are: the B note that we're going to use over the G7 chord, and the F sharp note that you can use over the D7 chord. And if you are one of my Patreon supporters, you get those scale diagrams to print off, by the way, among with other things as well. So an interesting thing happens when you start adding together all of the notes that we've got here. There you can see them on screen. If you take that whole group of notes there and just concentrate on these, let me play them. That's G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, then that is the G Mixolydian mode. And, you know, that's just simply using that B note that is there that we're adding in over the G7 chord and some of the surrounding notes. That very easily gives you access to the G Mixolydian mode. Looking at these notes here, you can see that that's C, D, E, F, G, A, B flat, and back to C again. Let's look at it on the neck. Sorry, my finger got confused there. That is, well, it's the G Dorian mode that we were using last time, but when it's heard in the context of the C7 chord, it gives a C Mixolydian sound. You were doing that anyway. Last week you were hearing C Mixolydian whenever you use the G Dorian over that C7 chord. And when we look at this group of notes here, let's go, so it's going to be D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D. That is the D Mixolydian mode. And once again, that's just centered really around that F sharp note that we're adding in from the D7 chord. And, you know, some of the surrounding notes from that G Dorian kind of shenanigans that we were up to last time. I got to be honest with you, when I'm playing, I'm not thinking in terms of G Mixolydian or C Mixolydian or D Mixolydian. I'm just thinking in terms of G minor pentatonic with the additional Dorian notes added in. Like that. And then chucking in the chord specific notes like the B's and the F sharps and so on. And it ends up essentially giving you all of this extra modal Mixolydian stuff for free. I'm not really thinking about it, and I was doing this in solos long before I was conscious that that was this Mixolydian and that was that Mixolydian. The reason I'm bringing it up here is because there are a lot of blues tutorials around that do sort of insist that you get to grips with all of this stuff and get it, you know, second nature and get it nailed. To this day, I don't really think in terms of that. If I'm playing a G7 blues lick, like that, I'm not really thinking in terms of the Mixolydian mode. As I said, I'm thinking in terms of the G minor pentatonic as the sort of safety net. I know that's going to work pretty much everywhere. Then I'm thinking in terms of adding in the easy notes that will work wherever you are in the chord sequence, the E note and the A note from those two chords, and that gives me the Dorian mode. That kind of thing. And then just whichever chord I'm playing over at any given time, I'll just throw in the B note for the G7 chord, the F sharp note for the D7 chord, and, you know, as I say, the E note for the C7 chord, and it gives you all of that Mixolydian shenanigans without really having to sit and learn a load of scale patterns. You've got the scale patterns there that you can print off if you're a Patreon supporter, but I wouldn't sit and practice those scales per se. It's just a way of, you can kind of look at that sheet and see at a glance where these, you know, B's and F sharps are for you to add in at the appropriate time for the chords that you're playing over. Anyway, here is a bit of a solo where I do all of this kind of stuff, and you'll hear the kind of effect that it gives you. Here it is. So there you go. Hopefully you can hear that it just gives a little bit more sophistication to your blues solos than, you know, playing like with a standard blues scale minor pentatonic thing. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Some fantastic guitar solos have been played and will be played, have yet to be played, just using minor pentatonic scales. But this just gives you more options. It's as simple as that. There is, of course, a full tab in both Guitar Pro and PDF formats for the solo that you heard me play there, along with the jam track and the scale diagrams that I mentioned, and that clip that you're seeing of me kind of explaining what's going on in the solo and everything. All of that is up on my Patreon page. There's the address, link in the description. A special little thank you to all of my wonderful Patreon supporters. Thank you, chaps. It is so much appreciated. I'm very grateful. But that's pretty much it for today, folks. Hope you've enjoyed the video and found it useful, informative, maybe even a little bit inspiring. And if you have, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. And why not give me a like while you're at it? What else do I need to mention? Yes, the live stream on Friday, 5 PM UK time. There is a live stream on this channel, as I'm sure you know by now, but if you're new to the channel, basically what happens at 5 o'clock on a Friday is we sit and have a beer and talk about guitars and music for an hour. Great way to kick off the weekend. I'd love to see you there. But for now, that's pretty much it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.